I use 12 tools to run my entire AI search consultancy and to operate my work as a B2B creator on LinkedIn. Some of them cost me nothing, some of them I'd pay double for tomorrow, and a few of them didn't even exist a year ago. So if you're a B2B creator trying to figure out which AI tools to use, what's new, what's actually worth using, this is my full stack. So if you don't know me, I'm Kaylee Moore. I'm a content strategist who focuses on AI search. I help B2B software companies understand how they show up in AI-generated answers, and if they don't, what to do about it. I also run a newsletter called Context Window. I have this YouTube channel focused on AI search content and news and trends, and I also do AEO consulting work. So the tools I use actually have to earn their place, and I'm going to walk you through all 12 of them grouped by how I actually use them. So research and monitoring, content creation, visual and video, and operations. So let's start with research and monitoring. First up is Ahrefs. So let's start with the foundation. Ahrefs is where I do my keyword research and comparative analysis. So if a client wants to know what queries people are typing into Google and increasingly what questions people are asking AI, this is usually where I go first. So I use it to pull keyword gaps, track rankings, and audit backlink profiles. So it's not necessarily an AI search tool specifically, but it's the baseline, and you need to know what people are searching for before you can actually figure out what AI is pulling from. From there, I go into AirOps, and they have some of these analytics built in too, but this is largely what I use if I am tasked with building AI-powered workflows. So content creation, pushing out AI content at scale. This is not something I do a lot of, but I like to think of this tool as an automation layer for AI search strategy. Some people want it, so if they do, I help them figure that out. I use it to run brand monitoring workflows, analyze how clients show up across different AI models, and process that data kind of at scale. So the thing I love about AirOps is that it lets me build repeatable systems. So instead of manually prompting Claude 50 different times for a single draft, I can set up a workflow here that runs the same analysis across every single client, every tracked query, and it all does this automatically. From there, I use Scrunch as well. So I use a lot of different tools. There is some overlap, but I like to have my bases covered. I like to be rich in data. So this is my AI search monitoring tool. This is where I track specific prompts across AI models and see which brands are getting cited, and more importantly, where those citations are coming from. The biggest insight I've gotten from Scrunch is that AI answers pull heavily from third-party sources, not owned sources. So review sites, publications, Reddit, LinkedIn. So when I load a client's tracked prompts there and filter to third-party citations, comparing them against a competitor, that gap analysis becomes the outreach plan that I use and is kind of a lot of the work that is AI search optimization. Last but not least is Profound. Profound is my audience research tool. So when I need to understand how a specific market segment thinks about a topic, what language they use, what they care about, what they're skeptical of, Profound gives me that data really quickly. So for AI search work specifically, I use it to validate whether the messaging a client actually uses matches how their audience talks about the problem. Because there's a gap between your language and your audience's language, AI is going to pick that up, and you're probably going to have some sort of disconnect where your efforts aren't converting. So next, let's move into content creation. First and foremost, my number one is Claude, my thinking partner. So I want to be clear here. I don't use Claude to write finished content. I use it to think through problems, analyze data. It's a sounding board for sending ideas back and forth about possible angles. I use it as a jumping off point. So when I'm writing a client deliverable or a newsletter issue, I usually start in Claude to map out the argument, pressure test the angle, or pull apart a data set, right? Like, I'm a journalist. This is what I do. I need to get into the data, and Claude helps me do that really strategically. So the analysis here is really strong. The writing still needs my voice and my editorial judgment, but that's the point. I'm not looking for a ghostwriter when I use Claude. I'm looking for a sparring partner. Next is Wispr Flow. I don't know about you, but I am a big voice-to-text person on the phone, so it only made sense for me to carry this over to my work. This one changed my daily workflow more than I ever expected. Wispr Flow is a voice-to-text tool that works anywhere on your computer. So any text field, any app, I just talk and it types. So I use this for drafts, Slack messages, emails, LinkedIn posts, a lot of LinkedIn comments. This speeds up that process for me where I'm trying to engage. Anything where the blank page is the bottleneck. So I think faster than I type. You probably do as well. Wispr Flow lets me capture that speed, and it's one of those tools where once you start using it, you can't go back. Next up is Otter AI. Otter handles all of my meeting transcription. This is great for when I am not the creator of a Zoom event and I don't have access to the recording. I can record a local audio file on my computer and then upload it and get the transcript back with Otter. So for every client call, every strategy session, every important meeting where I'm getting context that's going to be relevant to an AEO audit that I'm doing, he records, or I can upload after the fact, like I said, and get that transcript that I can then build into the context that I'm building around my project for this client. So I also love this because I can use it to pull direct quotes from a client conversation and turn it into content. This is great for mining when you're doing a subject matter expert interview as well, which if you know the source signal stack, you know I talk about that a lot. If someone says something sharp on a call, I don't have to remember it and scribble it down. It's already there, searchable, and timestamped. So game changer. Grammarly is my final pass. I've been a long-time user of this. I think I'm 3 or 4 years in as a premium user. Before anything goes out the door, whether it's a blog post, newsletter, client deliverable, it runs through Grammarly. So I don't use it for style suggestions. I use it to catch the stuff you usually miss after your 4th or 5th read. Things like typos, repeated words, and a sentence that's technically correct but reads like garbage. So it's not flashy, but it saves me from the embarrassing stuff. Does it still happen? Yeah, it does. Section 3, this is a new one for me, visual and video. So Canva is where all my visual content gets made. Carousels, social graphics, presentation decks, thumbnails. I am not a designer, but Canva makes it possible for me to get clean branded assets without opening Figma or hiring someone for every one-off graphic. That was a huge bottleneck for me in the past. As a solo B2B creator, this speed matters. I can go from published idea to a nice visual graphic in under an hour. I also, in tandem, use Luma AI quite a bit for this work. This is my video generation tool. I also use it to create custom graphics for all of my long-form newsletters that I spend so much time and energy on. Again, I'm a words person, not a designer. This is incredible. I pay $30 a month for this. It's great for generating pretty much anything I need graphically. So still experimenting with it, but I cannot recommend it enough. I get so much positive feedback about the graphics that I send out in my newsletters across LinkedIn and to my individual list. And Luma is doing all that heavy lifting for me, so big fan. Loom is also something I use all day long. I'm actually using it right now to record this video. I'm a big async person, so instead of scheduling a call to walk a client through an audit or explain a strategy recommendation, I record a Loom. I can screen share, I can talk through everything. It's also how I document my own process. So when I figure out a new workflow or find something interesting in the data, I'll record a quick Loom so I can reference it later or share it with my team or with the team I'm working with. This is way more useful and context rich than a screenshot or a really long, dense email. So this cuts my meeting load in half. I need to be down getting deep work done. I can't be in meetings all day, and so Loom is incredible for saving that time. Next up is operations. There's really only one in this category, and it's Viktor. I have another video about Viktor. It is my AI coworker. So it connects all my tools. It makes it all sync together, and it remembers every conversation we've ever had, which is really important. It has all that context, so I'm not re-explaining myself over and over. I really do think of it as like a junior employee that I hand off requests to. So I've used it to help with blog posts, building landing pages, writing video scripts, including this one right here, including things like design assets too. It's not as good as Luma and Canva, but sometimes it's good in a pinch. But a huge time saver. It can do pretty much anything, and the context that it stores over time is just, I have more than made my money back on what I've spent on this tool, so highly recommend there. So that is my full stack, all 12 tools. The through line in this is that I am one person doing the work of a small team. The only way that's sustainable for me is that I get and give the information I couldn't get on my own through these tools. So if you too are building a practice around AI search, or you're a B2B creator trying to figure out what's actually worth paying for, start with the research layer. That's where the real leverage is. And drop a comment if you want me to go deeper on any of these. I have a couple videos where I've talked about these, but if you have more questions about them, drop it in the comments. Let me know.